is off to a good start. We're getting ready to start day 3. Got the kids back when school started and gave them a week. Kind of got them in, talked about our protocols with what was new with COVID, let them get settled in with their new class experience of balancing virtual and remote classes and in-person stuff that they were doing. And then we started on Monday afternoon. We're in our 4-hour segments and went really good. My expectations were pretty high, but they were met and exceeded. The kids had reported in great shape and had obviously been shooting because we shot it pretty well the last 2 days. We've been balancing between doing a lot of meetings and a little bit of play, get back in shape, and hopefully we'll get some good news here in a couple weeks from the NCAA about what the season could potentially look like. But until then, we'll just keep staying ready for whatever they throw at us. I just got a text from Kelsey that she's logging on, so I'll brag about her before she gets on here. But been working, trying to get her to be a part of our program. She's been a part of my coaching basketball life ever since I started, and to finally be able to get it done. There she is. She made it on. So welcome, Kels. But just yesterday was a big day to be able to. We've been working on it for a couple weeks. She's actually incognito, been in Fayetteville. Was spotted by some people at Nukes, but thanks to Jason Carroll for holding it down and not spoiling the surprise that we had on September 1st. He saw her at Nukes and I was wondering what was going on, but it's been good to have her here for a couple of days, and we're looking forward to her being a part of our staff.
I guess I'm first. Coach, I was wondering, like, how did this come about? I mean, you said you've been trying it for a while, so I mean, how did you reach out to her, or how did that process go?
I'll answer it first, then Kelsey can go. I reach out to her every year just to see if there's anything that has of interest. If there's anything of interest, what can we do? And 1 year it was, Coach, I'll come down there and work out for a few days and hang out. Coach, I'll do what I'll talk to you on the phone. I went out and watched her a couple times in Vegas. I had an opening as a full-time assistant. She was right in the middle of being involved with USA basketball, in which she ultimately became a member of that Olympic 3-on-3 team. So just the time didn't match up for her to be a full-time assistant. So a couple weeks ago, it was time for that annual call. And I called on a great day. She had just, I'll let her tell it, but she had just been thinking about possibly getting her master's degree, and she's rehabbing an injury, and just with all the new things with COVID, being able to do a lot of this stuff virtually, and it just, everything worked out perfect. I've always been right time, right place guy. Wouldn't have got to coach her in college if I hadn't been in the right place at the right time, and now a chance to sit on the same bench together. Timing was everything, and it was a product of our annual, is there something we can work out?
I mean, to add on to Coach, I think that it's really about timing. You know, we've always had a great relationship, and he's always been really connected and just checking in on me even after, I graduated from UW. So we've always maintained that relationship. And so he reached out, like he said, every year. And I was just hard no, just not because of anything, but I'm, super focused on what I'm doing and I want to play. And but like you said, it was the right time. I'm rehabbing a ruptured Achilles, and I kind of thought about, maybe I'm not really exactly sure what I want to do after basketball, so I want to try some different things. And he presented this to me, and it was honestly is his best recruiting pitch yet. I got to be honest. He's had a couple, but this one, I think for me, this one was his best.
Well honed. Yeah, and I tried to. I think there's some people I make clear. As I've told her, her number one priority is to keep doing what she's doing. Chase the professional and the Olympic dreams and the professional career. This is just an added line on her resume that doesn't have a lot of room on it. That resume is pretty long, but a master's degree. She was, a 2-time academic All-American, which I still don't know how she pulled that off. I'm not sure she went to class her senior year. But she's always had the balance of those two things. So her number one priority, though, is to continue doing what she's doing. I don't know if y'all saw her last night after announcing the starting lineups for the Aces, but her priority is to continue being who she's started out to be, and then to help us in the ways that only she's really going to be able to do. There's the one-day impact is just really hard to measure. I can't tell you how many people called me on that September 1st, which is an active coaching day, to talk about this. So her focus will be to get prepared and then help us in any way that she possibly can.
Terry, you want to go ahead and go next?
Hello, this is Alyssa disguised as Tara. My question, Kelsey, Coach Neighbors talked about balancing this with the WNBA and everything else you're doing. How does that look like for you and your schedule? How do you feel like you're going to be able to tackle that? And then also just, what are you hoping to gain in terms of seeing if coaching could be a part of your future?
Well, I'll stop you right there. Coaching isn't a part of my future. He knows that. I had to actually tweet out today that I wasn't retiring, that this isn't going to be my next endeavor. This is something that I want to do simultaneously as I'm playing. And I think it's very similar to being a student athlete. I mean, we've been able to manage I've been able to manage my time pretty decently through the 4 years I was in school. And obviously in high school and stuff like that, it's a little bit different. It's obviously a higher level, but I think I'm mature enough to handle it. It's really just about managing your time and prioritizing certain things. I think for me, I felt like I wanted to kind of stimulate my brain in a different way. I felt like I wanted to tap into some different things and see what I liked and didn't like. And so I think the only way to do that is to try it. And managing that while playing in the WNBA, yeah, it's not going to be easy. But I think that I've never really taken the easy road anyway. So it's not really new for me, but I am excited because I think that this is going to open so many doors. I mean, I've already learned a ton from Coach, but I want to learn about the process. I want to learn about more administrative stuff. I would love to, work with student athletes and kind of just build relationships and things like that, because I love people. But coaching's great. I don't think it's for me. I think he knows that. So this isn't necessarily me to go into coaching, but I think it's a great opportunity to kind of see what else I like.
I love the honesty. Oh, sorry.
Alyssa, she's always said she'd be a terrible coach, which she would not be. She would be able to overcome the curse of knowledge, but she said many times that she would not be able to handle players like herself in her own way. So she would be great at it. But this is about her being able to give our student athletes the most unique perspective whatsoever that's ever existed, of somebody that might want to go into the WNBA. I'm sitting here watching Slocum and Chelsea and Michaela Daniels. These guys warm up right now below me. Those are guys that have that aspiration. I can tell them my perceptions of what I've seen, and they might listen to me a little bit, but coming from Kelsey, somebody that's done it and is currently doing it, is so valuable. So she's going to impact so many lives that way. And just by what she does by example, that you can do this. You can be a good student and still be a good player. You can be a professional player and still work on your education and help others. So I think what she's going to be doing by example is going to impact so many people. And, I still think along the way at some point in time, she's going to realize she could be a coach if the time ever came.
Seth, you want to go ahead and go?
Yeah, Kelsey, you mentioned this was his best recruiting pitch ever. Why?
It's a great question. I think it fit perfectly with the timing. I think he knew exactly what I needed. One of the things I love about Coach is that he is not locked into this is the way it has to be. This is the way it's been and has to be. And he doesn't coach like that. As you've seen, it's not just like tradition and well, this is what, was before me, so this is what has to be now. He's very adaptable. And for my situation personally, rehabbing, being in Vegas, I'm going to be traveling a lot. This is a 2-year commitment. So me being able to possibly leave the country and come back and play WNBA games and whatever, just to be so flexible is what really sold me. And I think that he's always been that way, just like whatever we can do to help you be your best, that's what we're going to do. And so that's always helped me perform my best. Was it a better pitch than UW? I don't know. I think it might have been, because UW was more of a leap of faith, and I've seen it proven what the type of man he is, what type of coach he is, how he runs his program. So I have a lot more personal experience going into this one. So I guess the pressure's off. I don't know. That's probably what I would say.
She did a little more negotiations in this one too. Just for full transparency, the first time it was, we had NCAA rules to worry about. This was negotiations, but I think she'll tell you, I said from day one that there's nothing more important right now than what she's already got started, finishing what she started. And the other side of it for me is just, I always want there to be visible evidence that if you play for us and you do what you're supposed to do in the classroom and you do what you're supposed to do in the community, and you're the type of person that leaves a legacy where you're at, there's always going to be opportunities for us to continue to help you. I've had Heather now on our staff. I've got Chantel here on our staff. Now Kelsey joining us, and there'll be more. There'll be more of the people out of that team back then that believed so much in that vision, that leap of faith that Kelsey's talking about. And for those of y'all that don't know the background on that, my first year as the head coach at Washington was Kelsey's freshman year. She had committed to us when I was an assistant coach, and she had the opportunity to go anywhere in the country and stuck it out with a person with no proven experience. So that's that leap of faith, and it's worked out to this point. And I want there to always be evidence that we're going to continue to take care of you all the way through. It's not just the 4 years; it's the next 40 years that we're part of the same team.
Nate, you got anything for us? All right, Jordan, you got any questions for us?
Yeah, Kelsey, what have your first impressions of Northwest Arkansas been? Did Coach try to sell you on this area at all?
Great question. So I actually got the opportunity last summer after we lost in the playoffs to come visit, just to say hi. Obviously, Coach was a big part of that, but Chantel, Todd Schaefer, I have friends out there that I have relationships with that I wanted to just visit. So I got an opportunity to kind of see it before, but coming back, I love the spirit. I love the demeanor of the people there. I love how it feels so small, like community. And I know that they support their Razorbacks, and I think that's something to be really proud of. And so I'm very excited to be a part of a group that is really supported by its community, and they're building. This team is really good, and it's only going to continue to get better. So for me to be able to kind of jump on board and help in any way I can, what an opportunity.
I took her to Feed and Folly, Jordan. We had a really cush table. Lewis hooked me up, had a great corner table right there about the time the sun was going down.
That's good, because it's hard to get in there now.
I went to pick her up over in Tulsa, and I may have splurged and upgraded to a Cadillac. Which, by the way, I saw your podcast yesterday. Dropped Kelsey with Durant and Brianna. Kelsey was doing a podcast during that. That was awesome. But no, Fayetteville sells itself. Y'all all know that. And I will tell y'all that I purposely, and I do this in recruiting too, like I didn't send her a bunch of pictures. I don't send people a bunch of – because you get that wow factor when you get here. You sense it. You feel it. Like I literally texted her. I said, "Are y'all eating at Nukes?" She's like, "How'd you know?" It was because somebody saw her. And that doesn't happen. I lived in Seattle for 4 years and nobody knew me except my cleaners. Okay. So that's that different thing. But I just wanted her to get a chance. And like she said, she's got, her and Chantel go way back. They were in that first class together. Coach Todd and his boys, for a year out there, Kelsey's senior year. And at that point in time, and Heather's living here still now too. So we're getting the band back together in shape, form, or fashion. But this place really does sell itself. So it was nothing set up. I didn't have to plan anybody calling the Hogs or anybody doing anything. It just happened naturally. But Feed and Folly was a good spot to start.
Russ, you want to go ahead?
Kelsey, what are the similarities you see or you saw at Washington and what Coach built there, and what are the similarities you see of what's going on here at Arkansas now?
I think that they had a great run last year. I think that they really matured and took that next step. So I think going into this year, obviously there's a lot of unanswered questions with COVID and how it's going to work, whatever, but more so just directly focusing on the team. There's so many weapons from the outside. I think that when you're able to shoot the three as well as they can, you're never going to be out of any game. I also think defensively they've improved a ton. I've watched them over the course of the year, and they're going to continue to get better. And so that's exciting. You have the main group back. You add someone like Slocum, which is obviously a premier player in the country, and there's going to be some new freshmen, some new add-ins. I just think they're exciting to watch. They're fun to watch, and it's the style of play that I think draws people in, very similar to how we played at Washington. Run and gun, shoot it, no one be afraid. That's the style that you want to recruit to. That's the style that kids love to play for, and it's fun to watch for the fans.
Trey, you got a question?
Yeah, Coach, how far down are you going to put Kelsey on the bench? Is she going to be right next to you, or have you even thought about that, or is she going to be at the opposite end of the bench?
We're going to have to see. Hopefully we're able to play some games that she can get to. I've committed to her that, like I said, she's going to get rehabbed first. She's got to get that Achilles in great shape. So if she's able to get to a game, I can assure you she's going to be in my ear. Whether it doesn't matter where I put her. If I put her at the end, she's going to end up at the front, guys, just so you know. That's just the way it's going to end and the way it's going to be, and that's the only way I want it to be. So it's not going to be where she starts. It'll be where she finishes. And if she can't be physically at the game, her how she breaks it down for us before and after. She's always been my toughest critic, and that's what's driven me. I wouldn't be the coach here today if she hadn't have helped me back there. We wouldn't have been successful. So she knows me, and she'll be able to kick me in the butt when I need to kick in the butt. And she's pretty good at patting you on the back when you need a pat on the back too. So she knows me. She'll work her way into what's the best natural fit. I really want her in what she's so great with and was so already started to develop that weekend that she came and visited, just the relationship with our kids. That's something that just is so valuable to us that doesn't have anything to do with X's and O's, but all of that will have carryover. But I will just predict she ends up in my ear more often than at the end of a bench.
Pat, you got anything? All right. Nate, you want to go ahead and go?
Yeah. Mike, as far as recruiting, is she, by NCAA rules, can Kelsey be involved in recruiting? And
Yes.
Also, I assume the medical staff and training staff, are they going to be working like in cooperation with Las Vegas as far as Kelsey's rehab?
She's going to do all that out there and with her people. She's obviously got access to our facilities here in weight room, but she's going to have all that done before she gets here full time. As far as the recruiting stuff goes, she's not able to initiate conversations. She's not able to initiate and send things out, but as a person in our program, she can always hop on the phone. She can respond. And that was always that thing that I've been trying to get this changed in the NCAA for years. They always use the term alumni. You can use alumni, Well, she's alumni to me, and she knows me as good or better than any player in the world. Why could a recruit not call her, even if she wasn't on our staff? But they weren't allowed to before. But she'll be allowed to have conversations as they're initiated by those kids and on visits and things like that. So she just is not able to initiate conversations. She's in a really kind of a dual situation too. There's been other WNBA players who have served as coaches. So she still gets to be a WNBA player and take pictures with recruits and sign autographs and do all that, like tweets. She just can't initiate any calls. They have to be a part of a group call or a response to something that a recruit reaches out for.
Hayden, you got anything?
Coach got me on that one. They're all good. Thank you so much.
All right. Alyssa, I know, has got one more. So go ahead, Alyssa.
Thank you. I have a question for Kelsey, a question for Mike. Kelsey, kind of going back to what we mentioned before, just the excitement of rejoining some familiar faces like Coach Schaefer and Chantel.
Oh, I'm elated. I mean, there's not very often that I think that you get to spend so much time with some people, like a group, have a lot of success, have a ton of fun, build memories. And then a lot of times, in life, you move other directions. So to be able to come full circle and come back and continue to foster those relationships to me, it's a blessing. That's one of the biggest sell points for me personally as well. I know we didn't talk about it as much, but that's a community for me. Those are people that have been in my corner since day one, and I don't get to see them as much as I'd like. So I'm very grateful for this opportunity to be able to go back and work with them.
And Mike, I'm shifting gears a little bit on you, going back to talking about practice and stuff. I know you get Jalen Mason back. Just how has she looked? Because I know that she's been itching to get back to the court.
She went 7 out of 10 yesterday in our half of a scrimmage. We scrimmaged for a half. She went 7 out of 10 from the three-point line. So I would say that she's ready to go for her super senior year. She took I think a very educated deal last year, knowing that foot wasn't going to be 100% all the way through. And, now she looks like she had some type of crystal ball looking into the future that she gets to come back and be a part of this year where we lost the tournament last year. She's confident. She's a leader. She's been a leader for a long time here. She's really been integral in helping our 3 freshmen and our newcomer with Destiny. There's just a sense of a kid who has already graduated. They're just in a different place, and you can see a difference in her. But there's that confidence. She shoots the 3 now as well as she ever has, and she's always got that mid-range game that's so deadly. You just put her on the floor. You don't label her into a position. You don't focus on anything other than try to put her in a position to make decisions for you. She looks great.
Hutch, go ahead.
Yeah, Coach, I was wondering what the reaction was from your team, and then also have you had any reactions from recruits reaching out to you in reaction to everything?
The kids were elated to see her at the house the other day when they came out for the first time to eat. She's been around, so she came last year, worked out with them, was around, so they're past the starstruckness part. The starstruck part was gone. Her and Slocum went head-to-head back in elite camp way back in the day too, so there's a lot of familiarity, so that was good. But as far as like outreach, I just put that little video up just to kind of tease and introduce. It's gone over 150,000 views in one day. It's just crazy how many people. You read through the comments. There were recruits on there. Well, it looks like I'm going to Arkansas. Well, I can't wait for Arkansas to call. And I had to call them because I didn't have them on call list. But the outreach, the excitement. We didn't strategically plan it for September 1st, did we, Kelsey? Kelsey can back me on that. We were trying to do it the week she got here. We had to clear some stuff with the graduate schools, but it worked out really good to drop on September 1st. The excitement around is really high. And there's, it's funny. I told her, I said, one of the 2 things you're going to have to do is you're going to have to come to a luncheon. And that was part of she goes, Coach, what is this luncheon thing? what is this luncheon? And I said, explain to her, once a month we get together and our fans come in. I said, you got to commit to coming to one luncheon. And she was like, okay. She thought it was like an everyday thing or a Zoom or a call, but I was like, no, it's once a month and we get together and eat at Mermaids. And Brett Dolan, get ready. I will mark your calendar. That will be the most attended luncheon in the history of Arkansas women's basketball luncheons, I can assure you. And also, Elvis Moya was really excited because we're not going to have to buy a new T-shirt cannon. We're just going to let Kelsey throw the T-shirts into the upper deck. If y'all hadn't seen that clip of her throwing it at the San Antonio Spurs game, that thing went viral too. So budget cuts are big right now this year with all the COVID stuff. So we saved about $1,500 on T-shirt cannon. So we got that going for us too.
All right, we'll finish up with two more. We'll go Seth and then Trey.
Yeah, Kelsey, what do you think you're going to take from your time in Fayetteville and it's going to help you improve your game in the WNBA?
I think for me, this whole process has been about perspective. So continuing to grow my perspective. I think for the last couple of years now, I've been so one-track minded. And I think sometimes it's hard to break through when you're so itching to get it going from one standpoint. So I think, me to be able to step back, rehab, spend time with my family and friends, kind of balance my life better. I think that ultimately is going to be able to propel me forward.
Trey, you want to finish us off here?
Yeah, Coach, kind of a two-parter. What part of your schedule do you have set? Obviously, are there multiple schedules based on what the SEC lets you do? And then second, what's been the reaction? I know Hutch asked about players and stuff. What's been the reaction from the coaches around women's college basketball about this move of adding Kelsey?
Some of them are mad they didn't think of it first. Some of them are thinking, wow, this is – I've had players reach out and say, man, I hope this works out for me. So I hope Kelsey gets to be a trailblazer in that area too. But the coaches have all been – she helps our game. She helps women's basketball. She helps the college game. Everybody that has at least reached out to me has been supportive. I'm sure there's haters everywhere. There always is that will try to drag us down with it. But no, everybody that reached out's really excited to, in the limited availability that she's going to have, just to be a part of it. Then as far as the scheduling goes, yeah, it's in about 4 different piles on the desk. It all is going to depend on when we start, what they're going to base the NCAA tournament on. I think is going to largely drive how you feel. Like we've lost games already with Arizona and Cal that were 2 of our marquee games. Although I think now the Pac-12's maybe even saying they may play a few. So I don't know. We've got some alliances built in with some teams that we don't have games with currently that are regional, that if they lose a game, we lose a game, we call each other and we meet in the middle. So we'll be able to fill the schedule really quick. I don't know that it'll be what we had planned on it. I do think the Big 12 SEC challenge will happen. So I think the Baylor game is probably safe if we get to play. I don't know where it'll be or how many fans will get to see it. We've talked to Gonzaga, and as of right now, they're still planning on coming. If as long as I think it's going to come down to can the schools that we're playing against test 3 times a week. If regardless of conference, if they're not testing, there's probably a good chance we're not going to take that opportunity to play somebody that's not got testing protocols that what we're going through. So, it's always going to come down to safety first. And as much as we all want to play and as fast as we all want to play, making sure that we can put our head down at night knowing we're doing the safe thing for them in the long run. But I do think, like I said, we've got 4 or 5 different piles. This is what it could look like. This is what we hope like. This is what it could end up looking like. I think the SEC is very aggressive. I think under the leadership of Commissioner Sankey, we're gonna be on the cutting edge of the aggressive side of this. So we're hopeful to get some news here soon.
All right, everybody, that'll do it. Coach Kelsey, thank you, and thank you all, the rest of y'all, and we'll see you later.
Thanks, Mario. Thanks, Coach Naves.
You bet. See everybody soon.